Okay, here we go. Joker is directed by Todd Phillips and stars Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck, a mentally ill man living in crime-ridden Gotham City in 1981. This is an origin story for the Joker character from the Batman universe. I was fully on board with this idea, sounded interesting, trailers looked interesting, Joaquin Phoenix was a great choice, and Todd Phillips has made some really good comedies. The thought of someone coming along and saying, I have this different take on this very famous character, it won't cost too much, and it's just a one-off experiment sort of thing, see what happens. That's cool. I like that idea. You can have your MCUs and your DCUs, and they are a lot of fun, but maybe a little bit restricted to directors with a vision. But then you can get things like this to try something different. So I was looking forward to this. I'm also a big fan of the Joker character and Joaquin Phoenix as an actor. I don't think it comes as a surprise to anyone that the best part of this movie was Phoenix's performance. He commits, he gives it his all, he transforms, he disappears, and it's clear he's making a lot of choices that weren't in the script. It's also a well-made, good-looking film. It gives that kind of grungy look without it being really unpleasant to look at. And I wasn't sure how I felt about this, and it's been about a week since I saw it, and I really wanted to love this, and I think that it's just kind of okay. I didn't hate it, but I'm still pretty disappointed, so let's try to figure out why, and there will be spoilers ahead. There is no particular order to this, so number one, it's so obvious that he's not really in a relationship with Zazie Beetz' character. It's obvious because she's not a character. She has about 5 lines in the whole movie, and the majority of the scenes she and Phoenix are in are shown in montage without dialogue, and the scenes that have dialogue have Phoenix being way too smooth. It has to be the least surprising reveal I've ever seen in a movie, and it actually has the balls to go back and do a Fight Club-esque re-showing of all the scenes she's in from a different angle to show that she wasn't really there. Oof. At first I thought it might just be terrible editing and someone had come in and cut the scenes down to make the movie shorter, but that was not the case. Actually, it might have been bad editing because once the scene with him in the crowd at Robert De Niro's show is shown to be a fantasy, which was really obvious, and then the romance was shown to be fake, which is also really obvious, it felt like nothing was real. Like the final scene would show that everything had happened inside his head, because things just happened so suddenly and very conveniently for him at times. Number 2, the score is too much. It just constantly drills in that bad things are coming. It's all very ominous, and there's rarely a music-free scene. Number 3, the whole economic inequality aspect was very weird to me. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with Phoenix's performance. And number 4, for all the talk of condoning violence and the early opinions that were coming in, nothing exceptionally violent happens in this movie. I said that Phoenix was the best part, but I think for me it mainly comes down to the fact that I didn't like this version of the Joker, and I find it difficult to wrap my head around the difference between what we expect from a Joker portrayal and what this version was trying to do or was supposed to be. I don't see this as an origin story because when the film starts, from the very first shot, this character is a mentally ill man who's dressed up like a clown. Yeah, he goes on to do violent things, but he's already there. There's an exposition scene later where he reads a file that says all about his traumatic childhood, which is the actual origin part of this origin story. I looked at a few other reviews to get the mood of what other people thought, and some people seem to think that this is a story about a slow descent into madness where one man is pushed to the edge by society. It's not a descent. He's already mentally ill at the beginning of the film. He's already there. I thought they might go the falling down route where he'd do these crazy things and threaten and kill people in response to everyday cruelty and unreasonableness, and we'd think that this guy's crazy, but I kind of get where he's coming from. That's what it felt like in the first act because he's pretty harmless and people are treating him like shit for no real reason, and you think, oh, he's going to snap and take revenge on everybody who's wronged him, like, you know, The Mask. The comic version of The Mask, not the Jim Carrey movie. And that kind of happens a little bit, but it's dragged out for so long with the starting and the stopping. When he kills the guys on the subway, I thought, right, here we go, this is it, this is where he becomes the Joker. No, he has a couple scenes after that where he's a bit more confident, and then something else happens. It seems like that's going to push him over the edge, but no, not quite. And it goes on like that for almost the entire film, and by the time he gets around to killing the guy who gave him the gun, you've almost forgotten why he's killing him because he doesn't seem like that bad a guy. The idea of him killing people who had wronged him seemed likely to me because of all the talk about the movie condoning violence, like he would be justified in some way. What a complete load of horseshit. After seeing the film, I have no idea what the big deal was. Other than the scene where he kills the two guys in self-defense, every time he kills someone, I was not at all on his side. I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved it because it was like, fuck me, he's finally doing something other than prance around his apartment with his shirt off. The scene at the end where De Niro tells him off on the air for all the bad things he's done, I was like, yeah. Also, De Niro was pretty good in this too. I liked him in this role. I think I was supposed to feel sorry for the guy, and I did at the very start when he gets his sign stolen and gets beaten up. But after that scene, I didn't pity him. He's just too disconnected. He's not a sweet guy in a big bad world. He's just crazy and really creepy. And mothers are right not to want him interacting with their kids. The film relies too heavily on the mental illness of the main character, while simultaneously not exploring it very much at all. I like the thing about the compulsive laughter being a psychological problem, but other than that, what the hell's his issue? What's he taking medication for? We don't know what it does, and it's barely mentioned. How important to the plot is the scene where he says he doesn't know where he's going to get his medication from, because it doesn't ever come up again. Is that why he's acting worse than usual? Is that what's causing this? He speechifies at the end about how society was mean to him and he was the victim of the system, and that's why he turned out the way he did. But that's not what happened in the film. And what's he even talking about? What system? What did society do? Is it supposed to be a message to us? Because I'm not getting it. The story seems like it's supposed to be about a number of things, hence all the business about the rich versus the poor. But the closest thing to a real actual message I could take away from this was that it's probably a good idea to take care of mentally ill people because they can be a danger to themselves and others. But I don't think the film is really going for that. He's not really smart. He's just crazy. He's not a criminal mastermind. He's just crazy. He's not cool in any way. He's just crazy. He's never funny. He's just crazy. He's not intimidating. He's not scary. He's not eloquent or amused. He's just crazy. For fuck's sake, even the Jared Leto Joker, aka the worst Joker, seemed like he could have had more of the classic Joker traits than this one did. Maybe if he had had more screen time, that is. The only times he could almost pass as being kind of cool is in the promos, when he's sitting with a cigarette or walking in slow motion. And I thought that this shot was so cool 2 weeks ago. Now I don't. Why is he dancing? It's so sad. I don't know what it means. I don't know why he's doing it. I thought it looked weird in the trailers, but again, it was interesting. I thought there'd be some kind of setup for it. Maybe he'd watch someone do it on TV in an earlier scene. I don't know, but something. No, wait, I just figured it out. I just thought of this. I can't believe I didn't realize before. It's so obvious. It's because he's just crazy. Crazy people do strange things when they're being all crazy. Just a top-notch character study. I don't have any real sense of who this character is. He behaves too differently from scene to scene, which contributed to the it's all in his head feeling that I mentioned before. One scene he's creeping someone out, and then he's competent enough to charm a kid with magic tricks and win his confidence. And then he's up on a stage in a comedy show talking like a little boy, and then he's dancing to rock and roll music, and then he's lying on his bed with his hand down his pants, and then the next scene he's killing someone, and then the scene after that he's going to kill himself, and then he's walking in slow motion like he just did or is about to do something epically villainous, which is never the case. I remember thinking when I saw the trailer, oh, what is this subway scene with all these people? It looks like the Joker's done something clever. He's committed some kind of crime. He's created a diversion and then walked away. But that's not what happened at all. He wasn't the cause of the violence in that scene. It was the equivalent of a brawl in an Old West saloon where the wrong guy gets hit and somehow everyone gets involved. And that was the one part of the trailer where it looked like something was actually happening. Nothing really memorable or crazy happens, and like I said, it seemed like it was supposed to be a character study, so I didn't need action set pieces, but I think it goes to show how not very interesting and ill-defined your character is when the small pieces of action that we did get felt like the breath of life. I didn't like the way the city reacted to him, making him a symbol and inspiring others to dress up like clowns and attack people, because I'm pretty sure that that exact same thing happened on an episode of Gotham. Gotham! And I didn't like the plot point of him thinking that he might be Thomas Wayne's illegitimate son, because it reminded me in a not good way of Spectre, where Bond and Blofeld were revealed to be kind of like brothers, and I didn't like it when it turned out that it wasn't the case, but also that it was introduced for no good reason, and that reminded me of the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street, where they introduced the concept that maybe Freddy wasn't molesting the kids. Maybe they lied about what he did and got him killed, and that's why he's returned to their dreams to kill them. Wouldn't that be an interesting and different take? No, he did do it. He was molesting the kids just like the original, so what was the point of that? That was a bit of a tangent, but what I was thinking about when I was watching the film. Because the film ends with him in a mental hospital, I took that to mean that maybe it all happened in his head, which, if that is the case, kind of forces the whole thing to work and make sense, but in the least satisfying way possible. Like, yeah, it was all weird and not terribly coherent because it was a crazy person and it was in his head. I'm gonna give Joker a C. I like the idea of alternative versions and what ifs and Elseworld style comic book movies, but this is just slightly further down the road of dark and gritty and real, man, that Christopher Nolan started 14 years ago. It's darker, grittier, and not really all that new. It feels like the version of the Joker we would have got if Darren Aronofsky's vision of Batman had been made instead of Christopher Nolan's. If this is just a story on its own, then it's interesting and not that bad. But if it's an origin story, and we're supposed to buy that this guy would eventually be the Joker we know, or the Joker who acts as the arch nemesis to Batman, then it absolutely fails. I would recommend it, and I hope they make more movies with these characters with a similar mindset to the people who made this. Maybe with a clearer vision for what exactly they want to say with the story, and a script that has more going for it than, don't worry, we'll get a really good actor and give him free reign and pad out the runtime with his choices. Thank you very much for watching my review. Please like and subscribe. It helps me out. It helps the channel grow. Follow me on Twitter at @LookTheMovies. Comment down below and let me know if you've seen Joker, what you thought of it. If you liked it, disliked it, if you agree or disagree with any of my points, or if you have any points of your own. I will be back soon with more reviews, and I will see you then.